All right, drone video for tract 19 at Chalk Bluff. This is 5.68 acres. This was surveyed a few years ago with the corners marked. We're parked at about the northeast corner. This property actually borders two roads, and we're parked right where the roads come together. So it borders a road along its entire north side and then along its northeast side. We're looking southwesterly over the property. To the left you can see a neighbor. Heavily wooded property, so not likely that you'll see anybody from the property depending on where you choose to put your campsite or building site. Now looking off toward the west, following the creek bed, it leads right to the Jacks Fork River, which is just over a quarter mile west of the property. So where the white truck is parked, and then that north side of the property that we're looking south at right now, that's going to be the highest area on the property, also the most level area. As we go southerly from there, you'll see where it starts to slope down, and it slopes down until we get a few hundred feet from the creek bed, and it actually levels out according to the topo map just before we get to the creek bed. The creek itself, I do not think that's a named creek. I don't see it on the maps. We assume that it's not a year-round creek, although the couple of times that we've been able to get photos, there was water in it. I'm not sure we can see that in this video or not, but that, as we mentioned earlier, that flows westerly when it flows into the Jacks Fork River, which is just over a quarter mile. That's looking westerly. Off in the distance, on that second bluff, you could actually see Chalk Bluff. So these are the tracks at Chalk Bluff, and it's named after that bluff you can see in the distance there, which overlooks the Jacks Fork River and is gorgeous. This particular property actually, according to the most recent maps we're seeing, borders public land directly on the other side of that creek bed, which is pretty awesome. And then the Jacks Fork the Ozark National Scenic Riverway is just a couple hundred feet west of the property, and that encompasses the Jacks Fork River and then goes through Eminence, Missouri, and I believe the 11 Point River is part of that as well. We're back toward the north side now. This is a late summer video, so some of the leaves are actually off the trees, some have changed color, and some are still green. You kind of get to look at everything in this video. Beautiful area if you're a hunter, if you're into the outdoors. And now we're looking at some other tracks in the area. The fact that this property and these tracks out here are heavily wooded tends to make for a very private setting. Now looking down at the north side of the property, you can see a small cleared area right there on the other side of the road. That's at the north side of the property, and we can see that on the aerial map as well. You'll have all different types of timber on this property, from red oak to white oak, and then softwood as well, including pine and cedar. The northern part of this property was logged a few years ago. Most of the tracks out here were, but the middle part and the south part appear to have some pretty massive timber on them. It looks like the loggers kind of came in and logged the stuff that was easier to get to, and then they didn't mess with anything on the slopes from what we could tell. The topography of this, toward the middle especially, is steep. We didn't see anything to indicate that there were any actual bluffs or straight drops, but it's certainly steep. If you could create some kind of trail down to the creek bed, that would be amazing, and would actually add quite a bit of value to the property. We have not explored this other than what you're seeing in the videos. This would be a great one if you could spend the day or two and really kind of walk up and down that hillside a few times. This area is well known for caves and live springs, and the topography here is good for both of those things. So although we have not explored this property other than really what you're seeing right now and a little bit from the road, we do know of several caves in the immediate area that are in this same type of topography, so that would be really fun to check into. You have the option, I'm sure, for a few different sites for building and camping. You can't be super close to the road. There are setbacks that you can see on the listing page. It's got the basic property covenants that most of the tracts that we've sold for the last 20 years have had. So you can check those out on the listing page. They really don't seem to affect 90% of the people who purchase properties, but you still absolutely want to be aware of them. And I'm just spinning around to get a look. We're looking basically westerly over the north part of the property. Gorgeous area. I mean, it's just awesome out here. The white-tailed deer, the turkey. They've released elk several years ago, and they're building up an elk population in this area, which is pretty darn cool. Down there, the creek bed, we really didn't get a good look at it in this video. It can be tricky to get the drone down in there because if you lose reception with the drone, sometimes you just don't get it back. But I think we have a different photo that was taken before this was leased out that shows the creek bed, so check the listing page for that. But there you have it. Large tract at Chalk Bluff with the frontage on the creek and less than half a mile to the Jacks Fork River. The Rocky Creek Conservation Area is less than a mile to the east, and according to our maps, we've got public land directly across the creek bed, which is really cool. InstantAcres.com.